And now, for the third time in this playthrough, Archolos has completely crashed my whole system and caused me to lose all of my recorded footage again. And this is really, really aggravating, as I said before, because I've been using this OBS with the MP4 recording and all these keyframe and like processing settings. I've had this set up like unchanged for 6 years. All the games that I've played and reviewed, recorded the full playthroughs, and like I said, I think I've only had this issue happen once before, where the game would crash the whole system and cause me to lose recordings. Normally the game just crashes itself, and then the software and everything else is fine, and I can end the recording. And now all of a sudden Archolos, 3 times this has happened, after previously only happening like once in 6 years. So this game has earned quite a bit of ire from me for wasting so much of my time. This game is already absurdly long, and now that I'm spending like 5.5, 6 hours extra just replaying stuff because the game crashes my whole system is super frustrating. But anyway, so I'm gonna have to replay all of this. I've taken care of all the business outside the safe house. I can move on to the meeting place, which means I have to warp to the Amber Coast. And there's some people around here to murder. Take out some of my rage and frustration. Maybe not. The last time I did this, there was a bounty hunter over here who I fought. Of course, because I am having to replay all of this, I have seen and done all this once before, so forgive me if I sound very irritated and impatient and do not have very, exciting or genuine thoughts and reactions to everything. It's especially aggravating when this stuff happens late in the day, and I'm like, oh, come on. And then I feel like I have to replay it now so that way I can just be fast and efficient with it versus trying to remember exactly what I did last time. But there's a letter with Marvin's face on it for identification purposes. Volker's sending dudes out with pictures to say, hey, go kill that guy. And so now I guess at this point in the game there are just bounty hunters spawning. So here there are crabs. I don't remember what used to be up here. It might have been crabs or it might have been lurkers. But down here, you see a new type of alligator. It's not a special alligator as far as I know, not for like a, not as part of like a bounty or some kind of special situation. I think it's just a stronger alligator. Oh, this guy's either new or I didn't loot him the last time I was down this way. Last time I tried to climb back up here, Marvin had the hardest time in the world and he kept falling down and sliding in and getting stuck in rocks and bouncing off of every surface. So I'm very glad that he was able to get up quickly and easily this time. And now here we have black harpies I don't remember if there were black harpies up here the last time. It might have just been regular harpies. Maybe they were black harpies. The point, however, I was making with all of this is going back to the idea of new enemy spawns in this game don't always feel the most natural. Because situations like this, if I'm right about black harpies being here instead of regular harpies, and crabs being here instead of lurkers, and spiked alligator being there instead of regular alligator, it's not really like, why are there suddenly stronger versions of these enemies in these places when they were never here before? And like a spiked alligator, for example, no precedent of that creature ever existing in the world anywhere else, and it suddenly just starts appearing in Chapter 5. And that's where it feels like the creators are just putting higher level enemies into existing places of the map because the player is higher level, and therefore they have to put higher level enemies in. And it feels kind of like level scaling in that way. It's technically not, because every enemy has fixed stats, but just because the developer is dropping higher level enemies into an area later in the game where there previously were weaker enemies, it kind of feels that way. And it just doesn't feel as natural as what I feel it could have been. This happened the last time too, where a bounty hunter just spawned again somehow. This guy is a master blocker. Oh, now he's about to kill me, like, goodness gracious. Because, like, I don't remember Gothic 1 and 2 necessarily doing that. I thought, from my memory, like, they would typically respawn, or not respawn, but they would populate new enemies to effectively make it seem like the same enemies were being replaced. Like, if there were woods, or if there were wolves in the woods, in Chapter 1, you'd come back in Chapter 2 or 3, there would be another wolf or two. If there were scavengers along the road, you'd come back in another chapter or two, and there would be another scavenger. You know, it wasn't like this pack of wolves that you killed are now suddenly black wolves, or orc dogs. Or these scavengers are now forest scavengers, or sick scavengers. Like, the only times that I really remember those tougher enemies coming into the map was like when it was necessitated for a quest or a major story element. You know, like dragon snappers appearing outside of the pass to the mines, pass to the Valley of Mines outside Bangar's farm. I think that's a story element where dangerous creatures are starting to wander out of the valley into the Corinus farmlands, and so that's where it feels a little bit more justified to have stronger enemies there. And same thing with the Seekers appearing in Chapters 3, and like the Orcs or Lizardmen or more Seekers appearing on the mainland in Chapter 5. Things like that, where it's like, okay, the armies of evil are amassing and they're building up and they're spreading out. Like that's where it makes sense. And like in this game on this island, I could see that working if they were to keep it limited in a certain capacity. Like, the orcs are clearly in the process of scouting and invading this island. I've seen more and more appear. And so that would be a way to do it sort of organically, where you have progressively different tiers of orc appearing on the island, starting with orc scouts or whatever, and then you get orc warriors, and then orc shaman, and then orc elites or whatever. And of course, then they can start appearing in higher difficulties and higher numbers in deeper parts of the island as the chapters go by. Like, maybe they also bring increasing amounts of orc dogs or wargs with them. You know, stuff like that works naturally to escalate the difficulty and the combat scaling in a much more natural way than some of the stuff I've been seeing in this mod. And none of these guys have new dialogue, but over here we have our gang of mercenary friends from the guild, all disguised as farmers, ready to take on the smugglers.
Jestem gotów.
Dobrze. Zaczniemy od rekonesansu wnętrza jaskini. Niestety do tej pory nie udało nam się nic o niej dowiedzieć. Potrzebujemy informacji o rozlokowaniu tuneli, liczbie przeciwników oraz o ewentualnych przeszkodach. Dopiero wtedy będziemy mogli przystąpić do ataku. Sander miał się zająć przygotowaniami tego etapu. Porozmawiaj z nim.
Sunder, let's go check out the
Chodźmy
cave.
sprawdzić jaskinię.
Dobrze, ale ostrzegam cię. Ten plan jest dość ryzykowny i nie do końca rozsądny.
Świetnie, już nie mogę się doczekać.
And previously I had swam over to the island where the lighthouse is to double check if anything new had happened there, and I didn't see anything new. So I can skip that now and at least save myself some time.
Jesteśmy na miejscu.
Tutaj?
Tak, tutaj. Widzisz tę małą dziurę? Musi prowadzić do tuneli, w których kryją się też szczury. Mam tutaj zwój przemiany w chrząszcza. Wejdziesz do środka, sprawdzisz wszystko i wyjdziesz. Nieźle to wymyśliłem, co?
Czyli nawet nie jesteś pewny, czy tunele się łączą?
No, przecież z czymś muszą się łączyć.
O czym muszę pamiętać?
Przede wszystkim nie właź im pod nogi, bo cię zwyczajnie rozdeptają. Staraj się trzymać blisko ścian i wszelkich skrzynek czy beczek. A, no i jeszcze jedno. Pod żadnym pozorem nie odmieniaj się wewnątrz jaskini. Rozerwą cię tam na kawałki w ciągu kilku chwil.
Dawaj ten zwój.
And I guess here I can show, this is from my other saves, you see 1:14:55, 1:15:56, so that's an hour of what the game actually recorded, but I had, of course, spent longer than that between reloading saves and trying different things and yada yada. I'm pretty sure it was like an hour and a half. But anyway, I can start overwriting those. And so I gotta do the transform into meat bug, crawl through here. And so their idea is to just poke around and try to find out more about what we can while looking very inconspicuous as a meat bug, just crawling around the hideout. So we got the quest log here. I'm in. Now I have to be careful not to step under anyone's feet. From what I can see, there's an unsealed gate or grate nearby. Maybe this will allow me to get deeper into the cave. And I'm pretty sure, like Sunder said, like, don't transform because whatever. But, you know, they expect you to just do all this as the meat bug. Because, as we will see, if you transform, they are invincible. So you have to go and do the whole scout it out as a meat bug thing, because they don't care about you having the agency to try to just brute force your way through and take advantage of your character's stats and skills. They are very insistent on following the scripts, that way you can experience the sequence of events as they envisioned it, and to make the cutscene work or whatever. And it's like, please, can you give me an alternative solution here, where it allows you to, if you are strong enough, to just go in Rambo style and take care of business, and like just allow the player to try to do that, and then if they succeed, you just allow the quest progression to skip all that and be like, oh, okay. You know, you report back to Adelard and say, okay, well, I killed everyone, I cleared it out, we're good to go. And he'll be like, oh, geez, Marvin, what are you, crazy? Okay, well, congratulations, yada yada. But there's so many instances like that in this game where I get annoyed with the quest design for just forcing you to follow the script and not making logical sense or allowing for certain alternatives. And of course I'm venting about it, perhaps more than I ordinarily would in this situation, because the game crashed my whole computer and made me lose footage, and has been wasting more of my time than any other game I've ever played and recorded. So there's that extra bit of irritation. I guess I should read that. This cave looks like the main room of the smugglers. The guy at the table is probably their boss. Need to check out the rest of the rooms, yada yada. One of those guys had a name. Everyone else is just a smuggler. We come up here. This is, reach the upper entrance of the cave. The passage probably leads to a forested cliff. I don't think we can attack from this side. Now I gotta go back and go through another hole. Oh, interesting. This happened the last time. I randomly fall through the floor, and then there's a dead guy under here. So this similar thing happened in the monastery, where I fell through the floor and found a dead guy. Well, I don't know why that keeps happening. And then I also, like, randomly get stuck on the floor, which is frustrating when trying to control this little meat bug when you can't walk forward. You have this guy over here, like, tap dancing sometimes, and you gotta watch out for his feet. I have not tested what happens if you were to move in front of some of these guys when they're moving around. I'm assuming your health is dropped to minimal value and then you just die instantly. Whoops. Well, the quest log is supposed to say that no choice but to jump down and look for some way out. I'm now trapped in a one-way environment. Another door that doesn't give a quest entry. And that's the, looks like the smuggler's barracks. I noticed a lever on the wall. Maybe it opens the bars in the main room. I don't think I'll find anything else here. I hope this opening by one of the beds will lead me outside. Where is that opening? Here it is. So this is the very lucky and convenient exit. Woo! Now there was this one dude in leather armor over here, keeping an eye on everything. I'd never bothered to check him, so he still has nothing interesting to say. But now we can report back to Adelard.
Zwiat dokonany? Czego udało ci się dowiedzieć?
Jaskinia podzielona jest na kilka pomieszczeń. Z głównego pomieszczenia wychodzą dwie odnogi. Jedna do pomieszczeń sypialnych, a druga do pokoju z dokumentami. Jedno z przejść zablokowane jest mechanizmem, ale znalazłem sposób, jak je otworzyć.
W takim razie, gdy my zajmiemy się walką, ty ruszysz odblokować przejście.
Znalazłem górne wyjście z jaskini, ale raczej nie uda nam się dostać od tamtej strony.
Tak. Górne półki skalne nie wydają się być osiągalne z tej strony.
Wewnątrz jest kilkunastu przemytników, ale nie wygląda to, jakby spodziewali się ataku.
Powinniśmy poradzić sobie z taką liczbą przemytników. Dodatkowo te wszystkie korytarze zadziałają na naszą korzyść. Dobrze. To daje nam już pewien obraz sytuacji. Ruszamy w stronę drzwi, wyważamy je z hukiem. Załatwiamy każdego, kto wejdzie nam w drogę. A Marvin z Karamonem pójdą odblokować przejście. Nie ma co tracić czasu. Za mną, chłopcy.
To było przecież jasne.
And here's Marvin. Surprise, mofos. And you see how easy these guys go down when they're not invincible? So much easier. Easy enough that, dare I say, I could have just wandered in here and killed everyone myself. If they were not invincible. So a bunch of these guys are given keys. These keys, I think, are all the same thing, and they all must go to this door here. This one guy has a bow, and he can actually do a moderate amount of damage, so I'm going to target him first. Ooh, get out of the way. Alright, now should be just the one guy in here now. So this guy will go down quick and easy. And here's a pretty good looking bow. A schematic for it, a diagram, but don't really benefit me much because I don't plan to learn how to craft ranged weaponry. Now the thing is open, and I should go and meet back up with the rest of the assault force.
Adelard z najemnikami pewnie ruszyli już do góry.
And of course everyone is so gung-ho that they just charge on without the two of us. Like, you see how quickly these guys go down? Like, why couldn't I just come in here and fight them? Because we gotta play out the script. It has to go a certain way. And here we get scripted dead guys because they are in slightly different poses, and you do the kneel down animation to loot these guys instead of just the normal standing open their inventory. But over here we've got a couple of healing roots. And a healing herb. And then a lovely cutscene. Oh, and a snapper weed that I didn't get to pick up.
Spokojnie, jakoś się dogadamy. Przecież wszystkim zależy na tym, żeby trochę sobie zarobić.
A teraz bądźcie tak mili i nie przedłużajcie tego bardziej. Ty, skacz.
Proszę, nie zabijajcie mnie! Ja nic nie zrobiłem!
Chyba musiałeś nie dosłyszeć. Jeśli nie chcesz oberwać strzałą jak twój szef, to obróć się i skacz prosto na waszą plażę. Musicie przecież uwielbiać to miejsce. To tędy szmuglowaliście towary, jednocześnie całkowicie destabilizując handel w mieście. Z pewnością miło ci będzie znowu poczuć ten ciepły piasek pod stopami. Jeśli dobrze wymierzysz skok, to może nawet przeżyjesz.
Błagam! Zrobię co tylko chcecie!
Skacz! No cóż, ten chyba już niczego nie przemyci. A teraz czas na ciebie. Od samego początku byłeś cicho. Myślę, że znajdę dla ciebie pewną robotę. Widziałeś to wszystko, co się tutaj stało. Chcę, żebyś zaczął nowe życie. Życie, w którym na każdym kroku będziesz opowiadał, że nie warto zadzierać z gildią kupiecką. Zrozumieliśmy się?
Tak?
A teraz spadaj stąd i nie chcę cię już więcej widzieć.
Run away! Run away! And this is where I get to comment on Adelard being like a brutal psycho. Because you remember many episodes ago when he got mad at me for implicitly allowing Darta to die so we could set up a couple of dudes at his campsite? And he was like, you know, if he stops living there, we'd get the land for free, but it's a touchy subject, so maybe be careful. And I was like, okay, so I can kill him. Just don't get caught. All right. And then he got absolutely pissed at me for not even killing him directly, but just like beating him up and stealing his weapon and then letting him get killed by wild animals. And now he's over here straight up murdering dudes who have effectively surrendered, forcing them to go through like extreme psychological trauma and the horrifying aspect of jumping off a cliff to their own death instead of him just killing them mercifully. Like, also that way he can intimidate and scare the third guy to let him run away to spread the news of how, I guess, like, brutal the merchant guild can be to people who cross them. But, like, do you really need to go that far to make the other guy jump off and kill himself to get the point across? Like, that's pretty extreme, and I don't agree with that. Especially after the apparent hypocrisy of him getting mad at me for being far less extreme in other situations. And granted, Darta was a seemingly honest citizen as opposed to law-breaking smugglers. But still, I'm not overly fond of the methodology here. And previously I had picked this top option and Adelard was like, hey, I don't like it either, but the ends justify the means. It sends a clear message that we're not to be messed with or whatever, and it gets the job done or whatever. And I wonder if I pick this option, if he's going to get upset at me and being like, it wasn't about getting rid of them once and for all. We need to not be so whatever about it. So we'll see what he says.
Pozbyliśmy się ich raz na zawsze.
Wyobraź sobie, co by się mogło stać, gdyby w mieście doszło do zamieszek z powodu nagłego skoku cen żywności, a działalność przemytników mogła do tego doprowadzić. Handel musi być kontrolowany i odpowiednio obłożony cłami tak, by cały mechanizm mógł poprawnie i długoterminowo funkcjonować. Dobrze, że mamy to już za sobą. Świetnie się spisałeś. Zostanę tutaj z pozostałymi i zabezpieczymy wszystkie pozostawione towary. Ty natomiast udaj się do Lorenzo i przekaż mu dobre wieści.
So all of that was the exact same as if I had picked the other option. If I asked if that was necessary, he would give the spiel I had just said about, you know, I don't like it either, but whatever, yada yada, it's ends justify the means. And then he would go right into, imagine if the economy got completely turned upside down or whatever. So you actually just get more dialogue if you question him. But the journal says Adelard didn't seem particularly proud of the methods he had to take to complete the task, but he himself admitted that in this case the end justified the means. He and the others will now take care of securing the goods while I report to Lorenzo. And that's the exact same quest entry, which is not reflected in the dialogue because he did not show any remorse about his methodology or specify anything about ends justifying the means with a dialogue option that I picked. So I'm a little disappointed that the journal does not reflect that in any way. And so in the interest of saving time, I'm going to take a free flight potion, a free fall potion, and I'm just going to jump off. So Gatoric, a leader, and Guy, who suicided himself off the ledge. Although I guess I should mention up here is another instance of possibly the tougher enemy spawns, because were there goblin warriors up top here, or were they just regular goblins before? Maybe they were black goblins? You know, there were... Oh, whoops. I meant to go to the teleporter.
Już po tobie, śmieciu!
Oh, why are you attacking me? I was trying to save you guys. I meant to go to the teleporter, but then I got distracted by the goblins. And I was trying to rescue these guys. I don't know if I accidentally hit one of them or what. I had not done this in my last playthrough because I had originally just teleported back into this town.
Nie ma czego plądrować.
So I don't know if this is just a random event or
Nic tu
what,
nie ma,
but
niczego tu nie
unfortunately, the refugees all died by my hand, not because I wanted them to die. These suckers can hit pretty hard. I want to poke my head in here and see if this guy's got any milk or scavenger eggs.
Okay.
No scavenger eggs. Does have 8 milk. He's got apples and pastry. I'll buy that. I'm trying to remember what I was doing with my stats the last couple of sessions here. Oh, that's the old town. I don't think I need to go in there for anything. Maybe if I pop in here, I can turn in some old coins.
Przyniosł.
Gdyby nie ci parszywi bandyci i...
So no special items given. But here he's got Fire Mage Staff. I think this is new. It's kind of cool. I'll buy an aquamarine. Actually, wait a minute. Doesn't he have... Did I see sulfur? No, no sulfur. Okay. Who is freaking out? Someone is like jumping or falling on stuff. Alright, I guess I should go to Lorenzo first. I forget if I talked to this guy before.
Hey.
I think I did, and he had nothing of use. Yeah, okay. It was mainly the guy at the broken string that I was hoping would have some scavenger eggs. Well, he ain't got nothing.
Hej,
Hey, you.
rozbiliśmy bandę przemytników i zajęliśmy ich kryjówkę.
Wspaniale. Wiedziałem, że razem z Adelardem bez większych trudności rozwiążecie ten uciążliwy problem. Teraz handel w mieście będzie mógł wrócić do starych, sprawdzonych metod oraz cen. Masz coś jeszcze do zaraportowania?
Okazało się, że to Armar handlował z przemytnikami. Na szczęście udało mi się go przekonać, by wrócił do naszej organizacji.
Armar zawsze miał żyłkę do interesów. Może okazać się przydatny. Chyba będziemy musieli mu wybaczyć to małe potknięcie.
Otmar przyznał się do współpracy z przemytnikami.
A to gnuda. Wiedziałem, że knuje coś za naszymi plecami. Dobrze, że się tym zajęliście.
Wypuściliśmy jednego przemytnika, by rozpowiedział o wydarzeniach.
Dobry pomysł. Facet będzie pewnie tak przerażony, że już nigdy nie spróbuje działać przeciwko nam.
And so there's no option here to report that we sabotaged or paid the guys off to stop building the cargo ship. And in retrospect, what would have been smarter is to pay them and say, hey, keep building it, but you're building it for us now. Not to get them to stop building it. But I don't know that the game really thought of that, and frankly, I didn't think of it until after I had finished this quest the last time and was going through those options and going, oh, wait a minute, there's a couple options here that I resolved that we didn't see here.
To już chyba wszystko.
Podsumowując, udało ci się wykonać zadanie efektywnie, a to jest dla mnie najważniejsze. Dobrze wiedzieć, że w naszej organizacji wciąż są osoby tak oddane, zdolne, a przede wszystkim sprytne. Pracuj tak dalej, a z pewnością porozmawiam z pozostałymi członkami Rady odnośnie twojego awansu. Proszę, oto twoja nagroda.
So I think I spent 800 gold paying off Armor and the shipbuilders. So I ended up getting 200 profit out of it.
Hej, ty.
Now,
Marvin, jesteś. Chciałem cię widzieć, bo po konsultacjach z innymi członkami Rady Gildii podjąłem decyzję ważną dla całej sekcji wyspy Archolos. Zostaniesz uhonorowany jednym z najwyższych odznaczeń, jakie mogą otrzymać najemnicy naszej gildii. Mianowicie, uroczyście awansuje cię na szermierza 2. stopnia. Z tą chwilą stajesz się członkiem elity Araxos i jednym z najważniejszych reprezentantów. Zagwarantowałeś też sobie dożywotni grant gildii i wstęp na jej kluczowe uroczystości. Dowódca twojego oddziału dokona teraz oficjalnego potwierdzenia awansu.
that's a buttload of XP there. I'm still a bit shy of the level up.
Czułem, że to ty będziesz tym pierwszym od kilku lat, którego zgodzę się awansować na 2. stopień.
Zgodzisz się? Czyli to nie był twój pomysł.
Nie. I nie powiem ci czyj. Pozwól natomiast, że kolejne pytania zagłuszę, wręczając ci ten pancerz. Przygotowany specjalnie dla ciebie. Godny samego króla Robara. Gdybyś potrzebował czegoś do walki, zagadaj do Ingora. Dla szermierza 2. stopnia będzie miał naprawdę porządny sprzęt.
Nie omieszkam go odwiedzić. Dzięki za potwierdzenie awansu.
To była dla mnie przyjemność. Tylko nie pomiataj za bardzo naszymi chłopcami.
And so while it's cool to get the promotion, I did have the impression, based on what Lorenzo said, that there would be like a little bit of a ceremony and not just Adelard finding me in the hallway and just saying, here's your
Widzę,
armor.
że nieźle się ustawiłeś.
Spokojnie, to tylko tymczasowe. Muszę jakoś opchnąć ten cały złom, a później, kto wie, może popłynę na Korinis. Słyszałem, że można tam zbić fortunę przez tę całą kolonię. Gdybyś czegoś jeszcze potrzebował, to przez jakiś czas z pewnością będę tutaj uwięziony.
So let's deal.
Pohandlujmy.
And here we see that he actually got some pretty decent weapons out of that storehouse. My one-hander is still better than this because it's doing 180 damage. But these are, you know, pretty good options here. I'm just not going to buy any of them. The gilded crossbow is I think better than what I'm using, but I really don't use the crossbow, so whatever. Actually, what's new?
Co nowego?
Mam złoto, mam broń, a w pobliżu nie ma moich odżałowanej pamięci towarzyszy. Los jednak bywa sprawiedliwy.
Yeah. But I had the thought, like, wasn't there a character in Gothic 2 named Pablo? I have a feeling like there was a guard in the city called Pablo. But Ingor also has some new weapons. Again, as before, nothing that's better than what I'm currently using. Because these are all dexterity or two-handed weapons. The Dragon Slicer, very well known as being the best one from Gothic 2. That does more, but my two-handed weapon proficiency is much worse than my one-handed, so it averages less total damage output. And the Blade of Justice is the same total damage with a less cool-looking model, so screw all of that. But he does have an apple, and he does have heavy Araxos mercenary belt, which I want. He does have these that I should probably be buying at some point. Since I spent a free fall, I'll go ahead and buy that. Yeah, I'll almost certainly be buying this before too long, but I'll hold off on it for now, as I did before. But the heavy mercenary belt is basically the same thing, but it just gives better benefits. And so then that boosts me up to 97% one-handed, which is pretty cool. And I'm just now realizing that I forgot to kill Puma when I was on the Amber Coast. If you go a little bit past where the hideout for the smugglers is Puma, who is a guy with a puma, and you kill both of them, and that's the bounty. And I forgot to do that when I was there. Which means I'm gonna have to go back there at some point, unfortunately. But this guy's got his knight's armor, which is kind of comparable to the heavy Araxos armor in some ways. But it costs 9,000, and it doesn't have a matching belt to give the extra 10 protection. At least he doesn't sell one. I don't know if I can find one later on. But when you look at these values, if you add plus 10, this is 110, 110, 120, 50, 30. Versus 90, 105, 110, 15, 25. So factoring in the extra 10 protection from my belt, which kind of ties into this one, it's effectively better. Of course, I have a belt that gives just generic plus 10 protection, but it doesn't also give 40 health and 7 strength or whatever. So that's extra things I would lose if I use another one, so I was considering using the knight's armor, but because this is ultimately, I think, a little bit better and it's free, I said, let me just stick with this then and not get the knight's armor. I don't think there was anything I wanted to do with Agdar or Adgar or whatever his name is. But Einar, the blacksmith for the Wolf Sons, owes me a free armor upgrade. So I can go to him and get this armor upgraded from enhanced to superior and have quite the substantial increase in armor value from what I had before. So upgrade armor plus 7, upgrade to superior armor, senior or superior Araxo swordsman's heavy armor, Einar upgraded armor for free. Let's save 2,000 gold and like 20 hunks of silver. I think he's got some new gear as well, kind of similar to what we've seen with Ingor and Pablo. So it's just more of these weapons all showing up here. Now he does have a couple of cool recipes here. Like this, what is it? I think it's the Thunderbolt, right? Yeah. The Thunderbolt looks pretty cool on damage because it's 200 with 25 armor piercing. But again, it is a two-handed weapon, so I did experiment with buying it and then crafting it and testing the damage ratios, and it does do more damage, but because I only have a 70% crit rate with two-handers instead of 97%, it averages out to do like the same or less damage. So I was like, screw it. Not worth it to use it. But at the time I figured, you know, I can still craft it and sell it. It's worth 3,000, and if you're selling it to Ogdar, I think you get fairly decent value out of it that way. So why don't I go ahead and just pick these up? I'm tempted to get this one as well. Yeah, sure. Oh, I have to read the recipe first. That's why it's not in the list. Thunderbolt.
Rozumiem.
And Southerner's Spear.
Rozumiem.
Heart of the Fire Golem. And more Fire Lizard Tongues, goodness. Because the Thunderbolt needs Fire Lizard Tongues. Whereas, what was it, the Paladins? Southerner's Spear. This sells for only 2,000. This one sells for 3,000 and is more useful to me, so I'll buy this one, or I'll craft that one. And this is why I start getting, like, apprehensive about spending materials, because it's like Fire Lizard Tongue, 4, and if I'm using 2 of these, like, for all I know, what if I find another recipe that is going to need Fire Lizard Tongues and I don't have any, and then I have to buy them for more money, and then I'm just like, eh. So I'll just hold off on that, on crafting the Paladin thing. But here's the Thunderbolt. It's a pretty gnarly looking Warhammer. It does have a little bit more reach than my Magic Combat Blade. But again, without the two-handed combat training, it's really not much better. And here we can see, just for comparison, this is the fairly substantial jump in defensive protection that I'm getting from going from what I had before to this. And then if you factor in that the belt itself, the heavy belt, is adding an extra 5 protection over what the standard belt was for this one. So it's all of that difference plus 5 more, so that's kind of exciting. And apart from having killed Puma, this was about the point when my other playthrough crashed. I was basically just running around the wolf's den looking for people to talk to, saying like, is there anything new? New items to buy, new quests, new random events. Wasn't really finding anything. The plan at the time was that I would go on to the woodcutters camp and the charcoal burners and the swampweed farmers and just check in on those guys. And then the game crashed. So at this point, you know, this recording is only 54 minutes. But, you know, I had spent a lot more time exploring places like the lighthouse and fighting Puma, and I did like 3 trial runs going into the den here and then to the smuggler's den to try to, you know, to test with the invincibility and different options there and yada yada, and then a fair amount of time going back and forth between armorers trying to test out different things and weapon testing the damage of the Warhammer versus my Magic Combat Sword. And I originally went to Einar to get him to give me an upgrade, and then found out that it was the one free upgrade from him was you know, he would apply that to the enhanced version and charge me for the superior version. So then I was like, okay, let me reload my save and go back and get the guy in the
Niczego tu nie
city
znajdę.
to give me the cheaper enhanced one and then get the free superior one. So stuff like that added at least 20 minutes to the playtime. But that Puma obviously is based on the Shadow Beast. Same exact sound effects, kind of similar movements and animations. But it's a little disappointing that it does not give a unique skin. Because it is a unique creature, and all of the other trophy unique wanted poster monsters, I'm pretty sure most of them have given me a unique trophy, so it's a little weird that that one does not. But technically that one is considered to be a bandit enemy, because you turn the quest reward in with Octav at the guard barracks and not with Garros, the beast hunter. So why don't I come in here and, which way is it? So the right and then left. Octave, I'm collecting the reward of a criminal, a puma.
Doskonała robota. Przyjmij to złoto jako nagrodę.
Now I want to run into the old town and buy that one book from the astrologer. Just so that I can go ahead and get my one-handed combat up to 100%. The extra 3%, not really that pertinent. Doesn't make a huge difference, but it would be kind of cool to just have it be 100%. So let's trade. So this gives me +2 and a strength bonus. But then I can also buy, where's volume 1 of this? He doesn't have volume 1. Interesting. Well, I was going to buy volume 1 of this. So that's going to give me one-handed, but it doesn't, I don't think you can read volume 2 until you read volume 1. That's concerning. I don't know that I have volume 1, that I have read volume 1. Well, that puts me at 99, which is something. Maybe Vincent has volume 1. I'll check with Vincent. He's got fire lizard tongues, which cost 250. So if I like needed to buy 3 or 4 of these, all of a sudden that's 1,000 gold that I'm spending just to craft something. You know, I'm like, eh.
Czy zechce potrzeb?
3.
Dziękuję.
What are the odds that Figaro would have anything new in his inventory?
Jak leci?
Większość medyków wysłano na wybierz.
Don't look like he got anything of value. Benzel. Show me your books.
Chcę...
Proszę.
So this will give me one-handed +1, and then strength and dexterity. It's kind of nice. Whereas this one was... What was the other one that the astrologer had? Are these the same prices I paid at the other guy for Volume 3? I don't know. I thought I had more than 17,000 gold before, but maybe this is the same. But anyway, I can get this and get one-handed weapon combat bonus and a dexterity and a strength. Which is really all I need. And as of right now, that puts me at 100%. With what exactly is giving me temporary bonuses? Nothing? Because this has nothing. I'm wearing all protection, and my belt gives me 5. So I've got room if I take this off to drop down. So it may still be advantageous to get a couple more bonuses from some of those other things. But for the time being, I've got some decent stats. 206 strength, 100% one-handed combat. When I level up, I could spend another 50 learning points to get another +10 to my protection, assuming that I can get multiple rewards from the Adenos shrines. Well, let's see, it's an hour and 2 minutes. I'm like, ugh. Oh, this is not where I want to be. I kind of want to stop playing just because I've accomplished everything I did before I lost the footage, and I'm now getting tired. What do I have? In the service of the Majesty, the in extremo case. Now I'm investigating sabotage taking place in the city's shipyard. So I gotta talk to Huxley about that. This is the one about Huxley. This is like an umbrella quest, and this is the sub quest for it. This one has been going on for a while to go to Valerio and Bodovin to deal with 6 scavengers. Why don't I...
Najemnik Marvin.
Yes.
Zgadza się.
Lorenzo chciał z tobą...
Are you way behind on the times? Are you telling me about the promotion that I already got, or does he have a new quest for me?
Hej. Marvin, wspaniale, że się zjawiłeś. Miałem po ciebie już posyłać gońca. Pracujesz w naszej organizacji od niedawna, a już osiągnąłeś więcej niż większość ludzi na tej wyspie. Doskonale zdaję sobie sprawę z tego, w jak niewygodnej sytuacji osobistej musisz się znajdować. Uwierz mi, gdy tylko sytuacja w mieście będzie mniej napięta, zrobię wszystko, by ktoś tak zasłużony dla naszej organizacji jak ty miał okazję udowodnić swoje racje. W tym momencie musimy się skupić jednak na utrzymaniu płynności finansowej gildii. Wiesz doskonale, że przemyt szkodzi handlowi, a nikt nie przemyca więcej niż ten przeklęty Cortez. Dobiłem targu z Roderichem. Połączymy swoje siły, by ukrócić jego szkodliwe dla gospodarki wyspy działania. Grupa uderzeniowa jest już zebrana. Udaj się do koszar i porozmawiaj z Winstanem. Nie martw się, nie wysyłam cię tam samego. Będzie tam też Garros.
Well, at least we're wrapping up all the stuff with Cortez, but I kind of had the feeling like the story of this game did not need basically anything in chapter 3. Like, my thought was that kind of came off as just pointless filler and padding. It's just, here's the thing to do to keep you busy while you go looking for Yorn, and very little information that you get there will be of any use to you. And so I was kind of thinking, like, you know, they could easily just cut chapter 3 out and it would help accelerate the pace of the main quest a lot, to kind of have you wasting less time on wild goose chases and kind of help you get to the heart of the plot a lot faster with finding Yorn and dealing with Volker and all of his assassination stuff.
Działo się coś?
Jeszcze się pytasz? Nowy...
So we are coming back here to tie up loose ends with this.
Ej, ty. Jak le...
Pewnie nie tak dobrze, jak u...
But, like, even if this does resolve in an interesting way, it's still, like, just, I don't know, everything in Scoundrel's Haven, like, the only really important things that happen here, I think, unless I'm just forgetting, is kind of reuniting with Beckett. Like, that's kind of interesting. You know, you learn a little bit more about what the situation was with him and Timo, and it's just kind of nice to have that plot element come full circle. And then you find your old friend from Landrum. I don't even remember his name. But there was a little bit of backstory character. Oh, look, they repaired this hut. The beds are gone. I don't know if there was ever a hole in the wall. But anyway, you met your friend, and he had a little bit of story about, like, Yorn being hanging around outside of town or disappearing or something, and other people were looking for him. So there's, like, a little bit of a tease there. But, like, you could put those characters and those interactions somewhere else instead. Like, it didn't have to be with all this stuff with the smuggling, Cortez, and yada yada. Like, your old buddy, he could have just randomly shown up with one of the waves of refugees and been somewhere in town. And you're like, oh, hey, it's you. And, like, maybe Beckett could have been part of that other raid that we did in the Smuggler's Den. He didn't have to be here for all of this, you know. Like, I feel like there was ways to get that information across better. I guess you do also meet Ivy here, but does it matter if you meet Ivy here or if you just meet her, like, say Volker is getting assassinated, the attempt on his life happens, and then you go there to work with him, and he's just like, hey, work with my assistant Ivy, or Bradlock asks you to work with her or whatever. Like, that would be effective as well.
Pok.
Guess I'll buy this. Right now, I'm just running around talking to people, just trying to see if there's like any unique character interactions or stuff to buy before we raid this place and potentially kill everyone.
Nie ma sprawy.
So I don't know. Oh, this guy teaches me too. Okay.
Muszę przyznać.
I might be at his max though. But I don't know exactly what coming here with Winston is going to entail, if we're gonna just like arrest Cortez, or if there's gonna be a widespread battle and we end up killing everyone here. I'm like, let me make sure I'm kind of satisfied with everything here before we start doing all that. Whoa, what did I get stuck on? Oh, there's another cannonball.
Hej,
Show me your goods. So nothing really important with this guy. Level 2 recipes. I think I know everything that he has, though. Buy some sulfur. And I'll buy your water bottles, just because. I think I can live without all that if for some reason you were to become unavailable after that quest.
hej,
Nothing new with you,
jak
right?
leci?
Niestety muszę ci przyznać, że udzieliłeś mi ważnej lekcji. Ale
Yeah, whatever. Javad.
I ja...
właśnie takiego miejsca.
Yeah, it's the same old, same old.
Szukasz Corteza? Właśnie ćwiczy na arenie. Jeśli to pilne, to idź prosto do niego.
I wonder if this is, sequence breaking or what? This is not what I expected.
Co
A, nic.
Like, am I able to warn Cortez or something? Or is this just the dialogue of what would be happening if I came here with Winston? So these are all inferior. Nothing I care about there. Oh, wait a minute. There's a interesting looking crossbow here. 125. Kind of not that great. Show me your goods.
No.
Sure, why not? That's more lockpicks than I probably need at this stage of the game. But again, I don't know if any of these guys are going to be available after we deal with Cortez. This guy is probably the most important one. He had a lot of pretty useful stuff.
Pokaż mi.
King sorrel soup and fish fillet with king sorrel. There's got to be other people who sell this, right? Sure, I'll buy it. I'm probably overreacting to this and going out of my way to do more than I need to, but just in case. So I definitely want that. And I don't really care about these other ones. Dexterity, like I might potentially use that, but I could live without these other ones. I certainly don't want to spend 3,500 on spell damage, so I think maybe I'll just save my money and not buy those ones. I can happily live without those other things if for some reason this guy becomes unavailable. $209. Cohen, I think,
Hey,
is
dude.
my buddy from Landrum. He ain't got no dialogue, though. Whoops, I'm losing track of here. 2209, so that's gotta be it. I'm curious what's up with Cortez, if this dialogue is gonna matter or what. Lorenzo has assigned me as a member of the strike team that will attack the Scoundrel's Haven. It seems the guild has joined forces with the guard. I'm speak with Winston at the barracks. He's coordinating the attack. So yeah. Nothing from Eileen. Is there anyone else on the other side? No.
Hej,
Hey, you. How you doing?
co słychać?
Jest trochę inaczej, odkąd mamy nowego mistrza areny. Ale to nie znaczy, że gorzej.
Mógłbyś mnie wyszkolić?
Czemu nie? Pokazałeś, że jesteś w stanie coś zdziałać na pożytek naszej społeczności. A takim wypada pomóc. Musisz tylko zrozumieć, jak cenny jest mój czas. Za darmo niczego cię nie nauczę.
A czego mógłbyś mnie nauczyć?
Jak każdy porządny pirat, znam się na zręcznej walce lekką bronią. I to prawdopodobnie bardziej niż ktokolwiek z tutejszych.
Show me your
Chciałbym-
skills.
Zapraszam.
Don't care.
Będą z...
Well, when he said about doing stuff for the benefit of the community, it's about to be the opposite case if I'm gonna come back here and kill you or whatever the case may be. Whoa, alright, so that's where I'm gonna end this one. I'll go deal with Scoundrel's Haven next time. And then I can either work on some side quests or go check out some of the other places, like check in with people at Silbach a little more thoroughly, do wanted posters, check the other major locations, etc. But that'll be the plan for next time.